right, and I'd like to call the meeting to order. Scott, did you send out an agenda? I may have just missed it.
I did. It was on the original email. I can run through it if you don't have a copy of it real handy. So you just called us to order, roll call. I'll take that off the folks on the screen. And then the next is approval of October minutes.
Take a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the minutes are passed, and I found it, Scott. Thank you.
Okay.
Now review of visitor comments.
I have none, and there are no attendees with their hands up. So we're good to go there.
Okay. And then old business discussion about future commission opportunities for fundraising.
Yeah, so I'll jump into that one. We had several last time in October that were on the minutes that you guys could review there. Seems like the two bigger ones that we were discussing were a potential run and a potential fundraiser trivia night. So I dug in and got a few more pricing and options for those as you guys had requested. For the run, Big River Running, who is the company that we use for the Turkey Day run and such, it's $800 for the first 300 people, and then it's between $1.50 and $2 per person over that initial 300, depending on how many more people sign up. That cost gets you. They design and set up the race course. They take registrations. They do the timing the day of. They provide the race bibs and the chips that are in those and do all that for us. And then you can check times after the event is over on the website as well. And then the other option was, or one of the other options was the trivia night. I've been thinking about that and digging into that a little bit more. I think there's a way that we could accomplish that outside at Blackburn Park. As we were kind of discussing, we could use all three pavilions to do that. If we set up a big screen TV of sorts at each pavilion, basically ran a Zoom meeting and would have iPads or phones that would be connected to the Zoom and then presented on the TVs there that people could then hear and see the clues off of those screens. Between those three different pavilions, we could easily put 100 to 200 people in there. And however much you want to charge for a table or whatever, that wouldn't leave a whole lot of room if we were looking to do some of the other things that go along with trivia nights, silent auctions, and things like that. I'm not sure if that's something that we'd want to dig into real hard in the first year, or potentially just host the, kind of a fun trivia night and let people bring their own food and beverage in. I'll sign an alcohol permit for the park, and people can bring their own wine and cheese platters and whatnot. So those are kind of a couple of the big ones. Some of the other ideas that were on there were duck races in the pool, potential old school home-timey carnival type things, watermelon spitting contest, three-legged race, things like that. Kids triathlon. Trying to think what else was on there if anybody's got something, but that's kind of what the stuff that I did some research on, but I'll throw it out to you guys on further thoughts.
Did Big River have similar, because I really did like that triathlon idea, especially with COVID up and down, like it feels like a safer bet to have something outside. Did you happen to ask them about pricing? Like, do you think it'd be similar to kind of time like triathlon events, or is that a whole separate thing that they just do running?
I think the triathlon will be a little bit different because you got the pool involved too. As far as the running and the cycling portion of it would be the same. They'd be able to handle that with the bibs and stuff. I did not ask them that specific question. I guess the harder part would be figuring out how to time the swim portion, since you're probably not going to wear a bib while you're swimming. I don't think. I don't know. I've never done a triathlon. Maybe they got waterproof.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you
Summer.
get a band, a wristband or an ankle band. But, yeah. But they didn't mention anything about.
I've failed to ask. I didn't ask that question about triathlons. I just asked them what the general race fees were while we were doing the Turkey Day run portion.
So I have a question. What's our agenda with this event? Is it just a fun community event to inspire people to sign on the dotted line and take out memberships, or to raise money? Or I'm not sure I know what the primary focus of this is.
That is a great question. We kicked around the idea last time a little bit about what we would be raising money for. If it's, I don't think you're going to get a whole lot of people to necessarily jump forward if you're just, hey, the city needs extra money. Give us money to come to trivia night. So if we could tag that to something specific. Last time we talked about skate park, we were in the midst of doing our public input process for some new skate park ramps and such. That's still ongoing, and so it could fund that. Currently, that's not a funded project until 4 years down the road. We've got it in the CIP fund for pretty large ticket renovation of the skate park, 300,000 or so. But anything in the short term currently is unfunded. So something like that, or some additional specific new need of a facility or something, or for partnering with American Heart Association or somebody like that, then we could look to, split some of those proceeds back to another organization like that. But
What about a water feature at Ivory Crockett?
that could be something. I'm not sure we'll bring in that much money the first.
I was gonna say that's swinging a little too high.
I think that's a pretty big ask for year one, I think. But for the future, if whatever we do starts growing, for instance, Turkey Day run, we have 5,000 runners for that between Webster and Kirkwood, and Webster brings home about $40,000 in revenue on that. So it's 80,000 split, between us and Kirkwood. So that would be, we'd need to do a Turkey Day run to get in the ballpark of a big water feature.
Aside from skate park, what other park needs are there?
Oh, there's a whole list. And it's getting longer. The budget, one of my things coming up later on is budget process. We kicked off the budget process yesterday, and if you've listened to any of the city council meetings over the last few weeks, our trend lines aren't really doing well. Our expenses are doing this, and our revenues are doing this, and it's getting wider. So budgets coming up are going to be tight. Our department's been asked to get into my whole spiel later, but our department's being asked to put a 3-year plan together to try to cut $500,000 out of our budget, or come up with $500,000 worth of additional funding revenue. And each department's been asked something similar along those lines, depending on the given department. So with things coming like that up, we haven't really dug into it yet, but I'm sure there'll be other wish list items that will be unfunded. I think we'll still be able to do everything that we need to do. It's just some of those additional wish listy stuff, where things may get slid back an extra year or things like, which we did with fitness equipment this year. We slid a bunch of the fitness equipment back another year because it's not getting used that much. So we didn't need to replace it all right away. So
Do you have any thoughts on like what public opinion would be if we just left it general like that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess it asks your opinion. You all are all residents. Would you come to something like that if if you knew you're going to have a fun time at trivia night or whatever it is, and you're going to kick in $20 a person or something like that? Is it you just paying to go have a good time out on Friday night and don't really care where the money goes? or are you going to be more inclined to come if that $20 is earmarked to go to XYZ?
Our members down, what's the Parks and Rec contribution to the loss in revenue?
Pretty healthy. Pretty healthy down, sorry. We budgeted lower this year revenue because it came in lower last year. So the last 2 years we budgeted lower. It keeps coming in lower and lower. As of January 1, we were sitting about 38% revenue that we brought in on the year. Luckily, we've only spent 36% of our expenses, so we're still under expenses on over revenue, but it's just not coming. It's not coming back. Fitness is one of our big drivers, and fitness classes aren't happening. Fitness memberships have been, canceled and haven't been renewed. We have almost zero personal training going on, which used to be, $150,000 worth of revenue line item. So things like that, just they haven't come back yet. And unfortunately, I don't foresee that changing anytime soon. Hopefully whenever we can get past COVID and get masks off, people will come back to classes. I'm pretty confident, but I'm still worried about memberships for those folks that might have purchased home gyms or Pelotons or whatever it might be, getting all those folks back in. I think eventually it will come back, but I don't think it's going to be an immediate thing.
The reason I asked is because I would hate to honestly, use a lot of our effort to do something that does very little, either to bring in memberships or to swell people with pride about their community and inspire them to spend more time in the community, or even that, falls flat and thing, a rock landscape bed at Tony Crockett Park, I'd like to maybe consider something that has a dual purpose of, especially because people I think maybe they've got Pelotons, maybe they've got home gyms, but I think people are really very focused on health right now. We're coming out of a pandemic, and I wonder if there's any way we could use that to inspire people to get more driven toward Parks and Rec at Webster. Part of what's goading me, Scott, and everybody, is the other day I have a friend in Clayton, and she said it's 8 degrees. Come on over to the center of Clayton and we'll walk the indoor track. It was bustling in there. It was insane. Everybody was safe. Everybody was masked, but it was a lot of folks working out and, using that facility. And it made me think, and it's Clayton, different population. I get it, and different, everything maybe, but it just makes me wonder if we could inspire greater use of facilities somehow with our efforts. I don't have anything against a trivia night. I just would hate for it to be a tiny little segment of Webster, a lot of effort on our part, and then it goes away. If we're going to spend time and effort, I'd rather that hangs around and makes your job easier, Scott, because we get you some memberships.
Sure. I appreciate that.
Right. Yeah. That said, I don't know. I'm just opening this up. I don't know how you guys feel, if you feel the same way, but mostly I just for us to expend a lot of effort on something that is a very small high school-esque type event that disappears. Back to the run thing. By the way, I'm sorry I tuned in about a minute late, and the Jim Shamel run was the one I referenced last time. I think it said Chambly or something in the minutes. But they bring in 30 grand up north of 30 grand. It's probably up to 40 now. So, and that's put on by high schoolers. So there are people in the community who like that event. So.
Now, again, that's got a specific purpose. And I think that is, both in terms of who runs it, there's a lot of involvement because of that. Then also in terms of, it's sort of a targeted thing. And I think that helps it. They get a lot of sponsors. We get a fair number of sponsors for that as well, I think. So you've got all those things sort of coming into play. but nonetheless, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's a popular and well attended event.
Mhm. Yeah. Anyway, I just threw that out there, you guys. I would love to see it. Maybe do the trivia night, do something that's pretty easy to pull off. But I feel like I'd love to spend some time in the near future talking about how we could maybe start a campaign to really get people involved again, at the center, up the membership, that sort of thing.
I don't disagree, Tracy, at all. I think it's a good idea. I think, part of our struggle there is just the continued, pandemic, repercussions that are there. Personally, I would be, okay with something like a run to give some effort there, just for the sole purpose of keeping status quo with the parks. It sounds like, Scott, we're, in a time period here where we could see that erode, if this lingers on further and further. So we could get some of, the bumps out of the way now by trying something with minimal effort, raise, a goal of $25,000 that goes into, back into beautifying parks. But it would be maybe a good idea, to David's point, of having some kind of draw in if there's, an effort for us to go out and grab sponsors, or there's something that's a co-event that we're sharing some of the profits with. I would worry about, right now sending out a brand new event just cold, that's just for Webster Parks, and that could be a dud in a hurry. But I'm not all that creative either. So
yeah, well, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. Like, who can predict what, we get a new variant in the middle of our planning, and there goes the,
that's what would worry me about a trivia night,
Yeah, I do think a run is kind of, I mean, Scott, would you know how many people turn out for that Santa on the Loose run? I mean, yeah, I think people like, especially now, kind of your point, like people want to get fit. There's not a lot of stuff in the spring, like around the community. I think there's the Go, so it could be something. I don't know. That'd be kind of quick to pull something off before April, but it just feels like there's kind of a lull of events like around town in the spring. It feels like a good time when people are seeing summer. They're like, oh God, I got to get myself together before I have to get in a bathing suit, all that. And it does feel, I'm kind of involved with the Bristol trivia. You wouldn't think it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot. I'm like soliciting businesses for the silent auction. It's just like, there's some interest, not a lot of interest. It feels like kind of easy to pay $800 for someone primarily to run it, and then our committee could focus on sponsors and PR, getting people to register, fly. Like, we could kind of be the boots on the ground, grassroots, getting people to run and get businesses, and let someone else kind of orchestrate the details of it, and just see how it goes. But and then yeah, I don't know about the hook. I have to think on that, what we could say.
You raise a good point in terms of the sponsorship. I mean, one of the issues we find that there are just, everybody goes back to the same well all the time, in terms of sort of the school trivia nights, the various things that, the high schools, the PTOs, everyone's going back, and it's everyone's going back to it. It's one of the things we're trying to do within the school district, is try to sort of do some coordination of that, sort of to maximize the efficiency there, which isn't to say, this is separate from anything the schools are doing. So absolutely, this group can go and reach out. But I think especially at the moment when everyone is having, the businesses in town are having the same economic issues that the Parks Department is having, we need to be realistic. So something, where we know what our fixed costs are, and we can go and see, this is sort of the, what you need in terms of sort of the break even and things like that, seems to me like it's a good idea. And yeah, your comment about the amount of time these things take, yes, absolutely. I mean, all of these things just take a lot of time to organize, and at times I do find myself sort of stepping back and wondering, okay, if we could, if everybody simply went and worked at, someone that would pay us $15 an hour, and look at the number of hours there, would we actually have made more money doing it that way? which I realize is that's a very Grinchy sort of view of these things, because part of the fun is actually getting to know people organizing them as well.
So if we do the run and raise, let's say even half of what you did for the turkey run, 20,000, 15,000. Am I hearing the thought would be do something to try and bolster gym memberships with that money? Is that what we're saying? Or is that still kind of a question mark, or we would just go back to the general fund?
Yeah, I'm not sure how a run necessarily, I mean, we can certainly market the gym memberships and daily passes and classes and stuff at the run and in the marketing and leading up to the run. But I don't know someone that's going to pay $25 to come and run is going to, how we're going to necessarily translate that directly into, you know, a $500 family gym membership.
Oh, I guess I think I see your point now. I was thinking that money would be used to buy some new piece of equipment or some new feature to draw people in, but I'm not really sure what you would be able to do with 15, 20,000 or whatever we would come up with.
What if we, I don't know, I'm just freestyling, but you know, what if for a bare minimum entry fee, 25, $30 to enter, and then we gave away 5 free family memberships by lottery of the entrance, you know, or something like that, you know, or gave a percentage cut on a membership if you entered and ran the race, or I don't know. The other thing too is I want to hit up some of these people who are probably doing pretty well, like Troy Dinkle, who runs Total Access Urgent Care. They don't have an operation in Webster, but they're literally everywhere else in town. And Matt Brocco used to live in the park, actually 4 doors down from me. He started that, and I wonder if we could hit them up. Troy's done something for me in the past, did me a favor when I was working. And
They're opening here.
Huh?
That's what's under construction. They're opening here and
building that.
in a matter of weeks.
Okay.
Big
So,
Ben Lead, right? Like where the dairy across the street from the Dairy Queen.
Oh,
Yes.
that's the old Webster Grove Subaru,
Part of it, yeah.
their secondary site.
Okay. Right. So, I mean, hit them up and say, do you want to sponsor a run in Webster? And, you know, I don't know. They're pretty forward thinking. When I've reached out to them before, they came through. So, I mean, either that or BJC or SSM or somebody who might want to partner with us and, you know, do their thing, but also give us 10 grand, you know, for the privilege of all that exposure. You know, I don't know. I'd be more than happy to reach out and make calls, but it would have to be with everybody wanting to do that. I don't want to impose it on you guys, but I feel like we could just find why not search for deep pockets and see if we could do some stuff that way.
I think that's a great, they might be interested. They're in a prime spot. I think they'll get a lot of eyeballs where they are. They're in a weird corner, but that is actually interesting because I think just being a new location, they might be interested in
A way to
raising awareness for their new business.
the opening is at that. No.
To Sarah's point, it's almost like up. It was quick.
It's a pop-up building. What I was doing with my brain was trying to think of who's doing well in this pandemic. And actually they are, you know, like not everybody is, you know, to Scott's point, you know, a lot of Webster merchants have had to close down and they have a trickle of people in through their doors and they can't keep their employees. But, you know, you can't even hardly get an appointment at Total Access because they're so busy.
Yeah, to answer your first question, Tracy, we can totally throw a couple memberships at it, and we can give away a limited time membership to every single participant. We already give away 2-week free passes, so we could easily, you know, include that as part of the registration. You know, when they show up on race day or something, we give them a business card for a 2-week free visit or a month-long free visit or whatever. We can certainly try some of that marketing to get people in the door.
Lottery, or we could go to the old, you know, like you get sponsors for your miles of run and sponsor you, you know, $2 a mile. So you get a $10, you know, and whoever brings in the most sponsorships for their run could earn the free gym membership or, free, I don't know. I mean, maybe have them help us raise the money by going and getting sponsorship per mile or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, if runners could bring in $500 in sponsorships per runner, and then we awarded a couple memberships, and we also had a corporate sponsor, we could maybe bring in some bucks, even with a smaller run.
Yeah, I think the run's worth considering to try something, and I could kind of like look around at the calendar and see just what's planned this. I mean, would we say like spring would be something to aim for? Is that realistic? Like early May, late April? I mean,
Yeah.
Scott, did they give you a sense of timing of how
I mean, I talked to Big River back in, November, so I haven't touched base with them since then. I think there's a lot of planning to get something off the ground the first time. So I would lean more towards early summer. I don't know if I'm not a runner, so I don't know how many runs happen, which times of year.
Right, that's what I meant.
Want to run.
Yeah. I'm looking at that now.
90
Jim
degrees.
Shamel, I'm sorry. I was gonna say, Scott, Jim Shamel is May 7th.
Oh,
and,
out.
And Ivory Crockett is October.
Wow.
If we use someplace like Blackburn, you wouldn't have to close any roads down, right? And they already have a big cross country event and 5K course that they have there, right? So I mean, you wouldn't have to do a ton of overhead, would you?
Yeah, if you're going to run an off trail or off pavement course, 5K cross country style, yes, that's already there. I'm not sure if that's the same type of demographic runner that you would get for a normal fun run, fun walk / thing, whatever. Again, that would be up to. That might be fun. I don't know if there are very many cross country fun runs out there. Maybe that's the niche. Maybe that's the hook that's different than everything else.
Does Big River do those types of runs, or do they just do road races?
Say that again, Josh.
Does Big River do those types of runs, or do they just do road races?
Oh yeah, they'll do that kind of run.
Could we do it in conjunction with community days, or no? Did we already talk? Like one of the mornings of community days, and since it's just going to be a Blackburn, and we're kind of focused on Webster at that time, we might not do the thing where folks get sponsors. Maybe make it really super easy for them to sign up day of. Show up for the fun run. You could win a membership at the rec center.
Just have them all run down
that time.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Michael.
The only thing about that time of year is it's extremely hot for running. So one hook could also be a nighttime event, be it running or I was going to say something earlier about the possibility of similar along the lines of the Moonlight Ramble bike ride, some sort of nighttime event or something like that has its own hook built in.
Oh, I like that.
I like that.
Have you seen that? Yeah, that's fun. I mean, yeah, we wouldn't run naked, but I do like just something fun like that. We could kind of make it like give people glow sticks or.
Oh yeah, they've got things. I just got my kids lights for their bikes for Christmas. I mean, they make everything nowadays. If you were at night, you really could put on quite the show. If you had participation to really go for it, it could be a really neat event. And I believe Webster on Wheels hasn't gone on for a couple of years. So, that could be something that people are missing out on.
That could be super fun.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot.
Do those draw? I've never done one. I mean, are they usually very well attended?
I've never attended one personally. I know they were. I've heard that they have been highly attended. My kids were always a little bit too negative about participating in anything. So we usually we usually missed out on big participatory events.
Yeah, I the only thing is I'd want to just, it does sound like a blast. I just want our best chances at the most participation, and totally understand running in July in St. Louis isn't ideal, but most of those races are like 7:30 or 8 a.m. I think, right, Scott?
Correct.
Yeah. Still could be a scorcher. I mean, that's like famous last words there, but it won't be like 100 degrees.
Yeah.
What if it ended at the pool?
And the pool, have them run the parade route on the 4th. I mean, it's convenient, right?
I mean, that's basically what I did last year. Could not keep up with my car, so.
I'm gonna tell you the PD's not going down.
Not gonna go for that. Okay, got it.
Yeah, the only thing I'm thinking for, the 4th of July is just so busy. Like, you're going to the parade with your kids and you're doing that. Like, I don't know. I don't think I would personally be like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this and then get my kids to the parade. And
no, I totally agree with that. Well, I think Tracy, you were probably mentioning of just like during the community days time, right? Like the 3rd or something along those lines, right?
Oh, okay.
Which I will say the 4th is on a Monday this year. So Saturday would be July 1st, which is the first day of community days. That's a potential.
Yeah, but I think you're also going to have a lot of people having parties in this. I've lived here long enough to know that there's more than a couple of block parties that go on that time of year.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that Turkey Day run is a hugely busy day for a lot of people, and a lot of people show up for that. They just kind of clock it into their day, and then get the turkey done somehow, and I don't know. I was just looking for a time that doesn't interrupt Shamel or the Ivory Crockett run, or that wouldn't compete with them.
Well,
You know.
Scott, I was just gonna suggest maybe for interest of time, like, could that be like homework we all do of kind of like look around at the calendar, kind of see just event. I think we'd all like to get something by the summer. Maybe we could all just kind of look at the calendar, look at events, and kind of propose as homework ideas. And I don't mind reaching out to Big River and just getting a sense of their schedule, just their availability through the summer and some of their thoughts. So I could take that as an action item.
I'm sure you can just check their website really to see
Yeah,
what
I
they
don't
got
mind
booked
calling.
already. They've got typically they have multiple crews that can go out and do more than one race a day. But they do have things that are booked, a year in advance and such too. So
Right.
Do you guys want me to maybe reach out to Troy Dinkle and see if Total Access might be interested in?
Sure.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
To confirm, they don't have anything 4th of July weekend, so Saturday could be on, Scott.
I was just gonna say that this is a community that tends to stay in town for the 4th, unlike a lot of communities, right? So maybe all the more reason that Webster hosts something like this that weekend.
Mhm.
Early though, to Michael's point. I mean, we're gonna lose people after like noon and they hit some parties, so.
What do they need to reserve the weekend? The $800 up front, or what would it take to get us penciled in? Do you know?
we'd have to sign a contract with them, which would be, that $1,800 for the first 300 people.
Oh, it's 1,800.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1,800.
Oh, I thought you said 800. I was like, deal.
Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry, my mumble mouth must not have come through.
Oh.
My
Oh,
apologies. 1,800 for the first 300 people.
Oh, okay.
Price is going up.
That's a lot more. Yeah. Yeah, it's because I was like, oh, well, that's not bad. We'll make that up quick. We charge everyone $40. Okay.
All right. Should we move on to new business? Any other questions there?
Yeah, so I'm hearing we're looking at run. We'll table trivia night for now, and let's focus on run. And so I'll start putting together some stuff around the 1st. So Tracy's going to contact Total Access folks. We're going to need a course, and Big River can help us. But if anybody has kind of ideas, feel free to shoot those to me in an email. If you think, oh, X, Y to Z sounds like a fun course around Webster or something, let me know.
I do like the idea of connecting park to park somehow.
Yeah. We just have to try to stay off the county roads as much as possible, or and the highways. So we're trying to stay off Laclede Station, Big Bend, Elm, right at under 44 and such. So more of the arterial side streets and such will be much easier for PD, police department to get behind, and for us to navigate around. But all right. New business. I did not have any new business, Mr. Chairperson.
Okay. Then on to staff report.
So staff report, you heard some of my stuff earlier. We're starting budget season right now. Our revenues currently are down. Budgets are going to be, it's going to be interesting this year. What we're going to put together, staff's planning for the capital items, new trucks, fitness equipment, things of that nature. That fund is pretty healthy. That's actually a sales tax fund that is dedicated just towards those capital things. We also have a Parks and Rec, stormwater parks and stormwater sales tax. So that one is pretty healthy. So the park side is okay. It's really everything that comes out of the general revenue accounts for the city, which is everything: police, fire, public works, a lot of recreation stuff. That's the one that the city is, I don't want to say struggling is not the right word, but concerning on where revenues are coming and where expenses are going. So we're going to be looking at that pretty tough. Some of the ideas I've been kicking around on how to come up with more money or reduce expenses include a couple of fundraising things like this, like we're talking about. Potentially some reduced plantings in the parks or around some city buildings. We put out quite a bit of annuals every year. We've been trying to move more and more towards perennials, putting them out. They're much more expensive on the front end, 4 to 5 times the cost originally, but you only got to plant them once every 10 years versus every single season. So that'll save us some funds down the road. We gave away all that firewood this year. So potentially selling cut firewood and delivering it to houses, could be an option, where we would dump a truck bed full of firewood on the end of your driveway for $100 versus you having to come down to the service center and pick it up. Random things like that. And then kind of one of the bigger ones would be potentially shortening some hours at the rec center. We're obviously not going to go crazy on that. We understand that there's a lot of people that buy memberships and they use them on those shoulder hours, but Friday nights are pretty dead. Saturday nights are oftentimes not very crowded. Sunday mornings. So if we could shave a half hour or an hour off one of those times or such, those can really add up when we start talking that we've got 5, 6, 7, 8 staff members in the building, manning all the different areas in the fitness center and the front desk and the ice rink and custodial and everything. So don't know if that'll happen. I have to still run a bunch of numbers on those, but that's kind of where we're sitting there. Some of the good things that have happened in the last couple of months, we were able to raise our part-time staff up to $12.33 an hour starting pay in January. So that's a bigger increase than we were planned for. We were able to do that because we have so many full-time staff working so many part-time hours right now. And just a few other things. We need to get that number up higher still. $12 is still not great in today's market when they can go a lot of places and start higher than that. So we're trying to attract good staff that can provide good customer service for you all, and do good work at the rec center and out in the park. So that was nice to be able to move that up. Ivory Crockett Park Council reallocated some funds that we had in the capital improvement program for the new park down at the old McDonald's location at Big Bend. That project was not going to start this year, so we reallocated those funds to Ivory Crockett so that we can bring some of the programs that we had scheduled out in the CIP years down the road up to the current fiscal year. So this spring, probably won't be this spring, I'm sorry, I misspoke. This spring, the courts will be getting done because we signed that up last fall. More likely this summer, we'll see some additional playground pieces. End of summer, probably new pavilions, take the 2 non-matching pavilions down, put another 1 large, nicer pavilion in there. And then we're still looking at some parking lot issues and some other things over there. So we're really going to try to get that park jazzed up a little bit. Seems like I had one other note, but now I can't find it. So I'll reserve the right to come back after I hear Sarah talk. Any questions? I'm sorry, I should have asked for that first. Lots of times you guys have great questions.
So kind of TBD on how the 500,000 is going to get made up right now, but lots of ideas.
Yeah, it's a 3-year plan that we're trying to put together, and we just got that request was just made from us yesterday, or to us yesterday. So those were just things that kind of popped up off the top of my head. My super creative staff, I'm sure, will come up with other ideas. I'm actually on vacation yesterday and today, so I haven't really been in the office to hear all that from them. So I'm sure they'll have good thoughts, and we'll let you know what they are when we figure them out.
Does that affect anything long term, like the pool remodel or anything like that, or is it?
I don't think so. That's actually one of the things that I'll probably be adding some additional revenue into that 500 to offset that 500,000 when the new pool opens. We'll likely get a bump in pool memberships and, have some additional features that may be daily cost for, I think I told you guys before about my cabana idea. So we can rent a cabana or something like that for $20 an hour. Some of those extra revenue pieces there might go in. But no, I don't see the pool going away because of this. I hope not. That'll be a new tax that we're going to go to the residents and ask for a new bond, no tax increase bond. So it'll be up to the voters whether they want to approve that or not. So that's outside the normal operating budget that we're more worried about.
Other questions before moving on to Sarah?
Scott, what's your timing? What's your potential timing for that bond increase or that bond issue?
April 2024.
Oh, okay. All right. That's great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, on to Sarah for the council report.
All right. Few things this time. If you've been watching council meetings or reading kind of updates on those from the paper or online anywhere, then you know that we've put out a tool on our city website called Balancing Act, and it's a way for everybody to kind of get in and look at what some of the decisions being made about how we spend the American Rescue Plan funds are, and kind of give your own input, even if you want to, into kind of which thing wins when you're deciding kind of how to spend that money. And it's a really neat exercise. It's kind of interesting just to go through, even if you don't kind of submit it at the end. It's a worthwhile, in my opinion, and gives you an idea of kind of what decisions the council and the city kind of have to make when figuring out how to spend those funds. And I think you'll see that tool used again when we come to like budget decisions and things like that. We're going to be sharing that out with the public more to give a little better visibility into those kinds of decisions that are made pretty frequently for council. So I would recommend going to the city website and checking that out. we have a council meeting on Tuesday, and we have a few kind of big things, I guess, on that agenda. But I know in the work session on Tuesday, we'll be hearing from our diversity, equity, and inclusion consultants that we had hired to do kind of a full audit of the city and staff and community overall, and just kind of what they glean from their surveys that they've run and the studies that they've been doing with staff and with us. So it'll be, I think, an interesting and enlightening presentation. And that's, I think it starts at 6, but I'm not positive about that for the work session Tuesday. And the ballot is basically set now for the April 5th election for municipal elections. So we have a number of candidates for mayor, city council, school board. We'll also have a couple of ballot initiatives for voters in Webster Groves, one for the use tax and one to determine whether or not to convene a charter review commission. And so it'll be a pretty busy ballot for a municipal ballot for us this time. And of note also is that the mayor, who has been serving for quite a long time, is not running for re-election. So we'll be deciding a new mayor. And so I would encourage you to kind of get involved and learn about the candidates. I'm not up for re-election this time, so you won't have to worry about me. But there's a lot, going on in the city. So it's great to have folks interested and involved in serving, and it's good to see so many people file. There is going to be a candidate panel that the League of Women Voters will host so that voters can hear from everybody. And I was trying to really quickly grab that date, and I didn't find it really quickly. So it's in March, so it's quite a ways off. I will make sure I have that date to share with you next time. But know that there will be one this time. We weren't able to have one the year that I ran because we were all just kind of scrambling from the onset of COVID. So, and I think those were the main things I wanted to make sure that I shared with you. But if you have questions or any concerns, any questions about what's going on at City Hall, would be more than happy to discuss or answer.
I was just going to say, I think that the school district I think that this year, normally they've gone hand in hand with city council, the League of Women Voters things, but I think the school district one will be separate this year just because there are so many candidates for the various school board positions as well.
For the panel, you mean?
Yeah, I think the plan is to do those separately this year. I don't know if you'll be doing yours at Hicks still.
Yes, and I think actually the panel for candidates for the city, I think, is at Webster U this time. So they may even be in different locations this year. But yes, I had heard they would be separate panels this year. Any other questions?
All right.
It was good to see those of you who were able to come to the big holiday celebration for committees and for boards and commissions. So thanks for coming. It was fun. It was my first one of those.
All right. Next up is setting the next meeting. Right now it's slotted for February 23rd at 7 p.m. I think we just do a yay or nay on that one, Scott.
Yeah, it's really set by your bylaws already. So I just throw it on there so everybody can see it. That way, if I forget to remind you like I did this week, but I've got that fixed on my calendar for the rest of the year. So I'll send you out notices earlier. I apologize.
I know up front, Scott, I won't be able to make, I'm on vacation that week.
Okay.
And I'll remind you, but just we'll be one short of, I know there's some people not on, so hopefully that's not a big deal that I know I can't miss it. Can't make it.
All right. And then take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Perfect. Anyone will second?
Second.
Perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Yeah,
Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Good to see you.
Bye.
Aye.